In our contemporary culture, there are many themes that show up in our literature, in our movies, on television, on soap operas, and particularly in our music. I'm talking about themes of love and justice, revenge, betrayal, sacrifice, retribution, death, redemption. One such theme is the theme of midnight, because midnight represents the hour of mystery and enchantment, a romantic rendezvous, a magical moment, a time of reflection and introspection. Midnight. And it is no accident that at the end of every year, we gather at what time? At midnight, to say goodbye to the old year and bring in the new year. Because there's something in our culture about the theme of midnight that captures the songwriter's imagination. So we hear the sultry, soulful voice of Gladys Knight singing Midnight Train to Georgia. A song, if you listen to the words, that tells the story of a man who leaves home for the glitter of LA and no longer intoxicated by the bright lights of Tinseltown, he decides to return to a simpler, happier life back home in Georgia. But he does not return home alone. Traveling with him is a woman, let's call her Gladys, who refuses to be left behind. And she says, I'd rather live in his world than to live without him. Come on, in mine. Which is what my wife said to me when we were. And Wilson Pickett with a gospel bluesy voice straight out of the black church, singing, I'm gonna wait till the midnight hour, because that's when my love comes tumbling down. Come on, y'all ain't been in church all of your life. Neither have I. Because this brother was expecting a romantic rendezvous with the woman he loves at midnight. But then we leave the secular world and we travel to the world of biblical literature, and we read of a parable told by Jesus about 10 bridesmaids at a wedding, waiting for the bride and the groom to be united at that magical moment in holy matrimony. But when the bridegroom is delayed, the bridesmaids are forced to wait, for the bridegroom does not come until midnight. And when midnight comes, five of those bridesmaids were found to be wise because they had brought extra oil, and five were foolish because they were unprepared and unready when the bridegroom finally appears. And by the time the foolish bridesmaids went to buy oil and returned, the door was shut and they were too late for the celebration. However, midnight is often seen by people of faith as a time of darkness and despair, of misery and gloom. What the Roman Catholic mystic John of the Cross calls the dark night of the soul. Because midnight is a period of spiritual depression. Midnight is when your world collapses and you feel crushed by the burdens of life. I'm talking to somebody. Midnight is the darkest hour of the night when, in the words of the old Negro spiritual, you were way down yonder by yourself and you couldn't hear nobody pray. And to be sure, this type of midnight has nothing to do with the clock. For this midnight of which I speak can be at 3 o'clock in the afternoon or at 12 noon. Maybe you are in this sanctuary on the first Sunday in September. Maybe you're watching us through the magic of social media, but either you've gone through or you're going through midnight right now. You may be in the throes of a debilitating sickness, an incurable disease. You may have experienced a loss of your job and the financial strain that it brings. When you don't have a job and want one, you feel bad. The derailment of a promising career, that's your midnight. An addiction you can't seem to shake. The end of a once promising marriage or budding relationship that's going nowhere. A decision you have to make that won't turn out good no matter what you decide. That's midnight. The death of a child, a grandchild, the death of a parent who meant all the world to you. And if I may say so, when we look across the gloomy landscape of our troubled and chaotic nation that seems to be falling deeper and deeper into a bottomless pit. And amidst the madness, we thought that nothing else can happen. And the very next day, something else happens. And now, no longer do we have a Department of Defense. We have a Department of War. And troops are being sent on American soil to attack other Americans in black cities. And God only knows when this midnight will end. I'm talking about midnight. The book Acts of the Apostles, which was written by the evangelist Luke, who also wrote the Gospel of Luke, tells the story of the growth of the early church and how the church spread from Jerusalem all the way to Rome, which at that time was the end of the world, and tells us of the challenges faced by God's people in a world that was hostile to the gospel of Jesus Christ. And interestingly enough, it was persecution that helped the church grow. You didn't hear. The church didn't grow when it was on easy street. The church didn't grow when all was well. The church grew through persecution. The church was made stronger, not weaker, through persecution. Persecution pushed the church out of its comfort zone. And here in the 16th chapter of Acts, we're told the story of two men who were thrown into prison, not because they embezzled money, not because they sold drugs, not because they committed fraud, but because they were followers of a man named Jesus, which made them popular with the people, but unpopular with the civic and religious authorities. And so here we are in a city called Philippi. And in Philippi, these two men encounter a slave girl operating as a fortune teller who is possessed by an evil spirit. She follows Paul and Silas throughout the city. Everywhere they go preaching the gospel, she shows up disrupting. And finally, Paul had enough. And he rebukes the evil spirit, commanding it to come out of her, which made her owners furious, because once she's set free, she is of no longer any economic value to them. Now the sister is healed, and her owners are no longer able to profit from her, because there are people who will profit from your misery. Did you hear what I said? There are people in high places who are profiting from the misery of poor people. There are people who are making a profit from the incarcerated and building prisons now to house black boys yet unborn. There are people making profit from the mistreatment of immigrants. Now her owners could no longer control her. I tell you, when Jesus makes you free, you're free. And now the slave girl is no longer a slave, no longer dependent upon these evil men who profited from her status in life. They were just using her, but now the sister is free. But in their anger and resentment, her ex-owners turned their wrath on Paul and Silas, as well as turned the people against them. Because you know, when somebody doesn't like you, they will turn others against you. That's why you can't believe everything everybody says about people. Stop believing everything they say just because they say it. Find out for yourself. Know the person for yourself, and you might find a friend and not an enemy. But because they turned the people against Paul and Silas and the government against Paul and Silas, they were arrested, stripped, beaten with rods, and thrown into prison. But about midnight, that's where the midnight comes, because we got to pause at midnight. Don't let us go too quickly past midnight, because let me say this to those who try to fake it like they never been through anything. Midnight is real. Did you hear what I said? Midnight is real. Midnight will come into your life no matter who you are, no matter what you got, no matter how many degrees, no matter where you live, no matter your zip code. Midnight is real. Midnight can bless you or curse you. Midnight can destroy you or make you strong. Midnight can break you or make you. Paul and Silas were stripped naked. Can I say that word? Beaten with rods, thrown into prison, because stripping one naked was a way of humiliating. That's why they did that, to humiliate them, and then beating them with rods until their flesh tore open, bleeding, was a way of saying to them, we're going to teach you a lesson. This is what happens when you go against our status quo and our laws. And here they are in prison, shackled hands and feet, nursing their wounds, trying to soothe their bleeding flesh. But at midnight, here's what the text says. About midnight, Paul and Silas, am I reading this right, were praying and singing hymns to God at midnight. Not just praying, not just singing, but singing and praying, because singing and praying was one activity, not two. And what were they singing? They were probably singing one of their psalms. You know, in the Psalter, maybe they were singing the same song that Jesus and the disciples sang when they left the upper room, headed toward the Garden of Gethsemane. Can you imagine wounded, in prison, bleeding, but praying and singing? But there's more. And the other prisoners were listening to them. They didn't just hear them, they were listening. Because there's a difference between hearing. Some folk hear but don't listen. See, they heard, they were listening to them. The other prisoners took note because they were hearing something they had never heard in prison. They had heard fellow prisoners cursing and swearing and complaining about prison food, but never had they heard fellow prisoners praying and singing, not the blues, singing hymns to God in prison. They were listening, meaning that they were paying attention. To listen means to heed. Now, what do we see in this text? And I'm through. I have to make up for 4 Sundays. I got to get it all out. I got 4 Sundays in me, and it's gonna take me. What time? The game was Thursday. That's good. So we can spend another couple of hours together since we miss each other so much. But what do we see in this text?
What do we see? Tell us, sir.
First,
Tell us.
that in prison at midnight is no time to abandon your faith. In prison at midnight is no time to abandon your faith. In prison at midnight is no time to abandon your faith. That's the time for your faith to grow. That's the time when your faith ought to show up. You don't need weak faith. You don't need faith that shrinks. You need faith in your midnight hour. Because your faith has to show up in your darkest hour. Talk to me, somebody. Your faith grows when your faith is challenged and tested. Your faith shows up in moments when you feel like giving up. Your faith shows up in your trials and tribulations. Your faith shows up in your moments of weakness and despair. In your midnight hour, in your prison, is no time for your faith to lay down and wither and die. That's when faith shows up. And you see, the combination of praying and singing speaks to the kind of attitude. This attitude, you heard people with an attitude problem. This is about attitude. What kind of attitude will I have about midnight? Paul and Silas praying and singing in prison at midnight is about their ability to transform a prison to a place of praise. You got to learn how to turn your midnight prison into a sanctuary. Talk to me, somebody. You got to recognize that God is present in every situation, that God is present in your lying down, in your coming in and your going out. God is present in your pain. God is present in your persecution. God is present in your despair. God is present in your depression. God is present in every situation.
That's it.
Anybody know that song, Through It All? Well, here's what it says. In every situation, God gave me what? The blessed consolation that my trials only come to make me strong. Can you imagine Paul and Silas brought the sounds of the sanctuary into the prison? He brought the sacred to the secular. Hear me, he brought the holy into the profane. Because Paul understood, Silas understood that God is present in your midnight, present in your pain, present when you have done your best. Because we must face the fact that sometimes our best just ain't good enough. I'm going to say it again. I don't care how hard you try to make somebody else what you want them to be. I don't care how hard you try to get somebody else to get it. I don't care how you try to get somebody to understand who you are and your feelings. Sometimes your best just ain't good enough. Can you accept that? Now, to be sure, praying and singing in prison at midnight should not be seen as a denial of their situation. They were not pretending that all is well. Some people do that, you know. They all got all kind of problems, but they're in denial. All is well. I'm fine. They were not using prayer and praise as escapism, because some folk, all they want to do is pray and don't want to do anything. They want to pray but don't vote. They don't want to pray but won't take action. They want to pray but won't protest. They want to pray thinking that God is going to fix it for them when God has given them the ability to fix it for themselves. Prayer is not escapism. They understood where they were. They had wounds to show it. But they were sustained by God's presence in their condition, because midnight is when God moves. God moves in your midnight while they were praying and singing. An earthquake shook the prison. Prison doors flew open and everybody's chains fell off. Not just Paul and Silas's chains, but the chains of other, that's right, everybody. The chains of the other prisoners also fell off, which means that the other prisoners were recipients of Paul and Silas's midnight blessing. Oh, I just said something. The other prisoners were recipients of Paul and Silas's midnight blessings. They didn't pray. They didn't sing, but they were blessed. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna ask it anyway. Not trying to be polite, you know. Who are the recipients of your blessings? I'm talking to you. Who are the beneficiaries of your relationship with God? Are you in church today because you are a recipient? Can you look around Monumental or wherever you grew up and see somebody who was blessed and you were a recipient? Is there a grandmother who used to belong here who now sleeps in the clay? Is there a grandfather? Is there an aunt? Is there a mother? Is there a pastor? Is there somebody in your life? You wouldn't be in church right now were you not a recipient of somebody else's blessing. Can you see them? Can you name them? Who? But then, who's in church today because of you? If you're in church because of somebody else, who's in church because of you? Who have you witnessed to lately? Who knows the Lord because of you? Even when you go to a party, you ought to talk to somebody about Jesus. Because the Lord never blesses us for us to keep the blessing to ourselves. Because if you do, it spoils. Some people brag about, how the Lord has blessed them because they've attained some level of affluence. But that don't impress me. Maybe some people are impressed by that because they've attained some level of affluence. When you go to their home, they invite you purposely to their home so they can show you every room in the house, even the broom closet. Oh, you're here where I keep my brooms. And every time you see them, they're bragging about what they got. Shut up. You can lose everything you have in the twinkling of an eye. And there are too many people that have stuff, but they're miserable and mean. Because they're never satisfied until you see what they got. I heard Jesus say, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world with all of its riches and lose her soul? Because it's not what you do for you that counts. It's what you do for others that's count. It's not just what you do for others, because often we do for others in order to impress others, or because we want others to praise us and call my name. If you do something for somebody and bless somebody, keep it to yourself. You don't need a microphone to let everybody know what you did for somebody who could not do for themselves. Whatever you do for somebody, do it because you want to serve Jesus, not because you want attention. Because guess what? Only what you do for Christ will last. Paul and Silas's midnight blessing was passed down to the other prisoners who were recipients of their blessing, and there's no indication that the other prisoners were believers. There must have been some unbelievers, if not all of them. There must have been some cynics, some atheists, some agnostics in the bunch. Some of them might have even made fun of Paul and Silas praying and singing rather than planning an escape. But somehow they must have been affected by Paul and Silas's faith, because when their chains fell off, they didn't try to escape. Because when that earthquake came, that violent, convulsive shaking also woke up the jailer. And because the jailer assumed that if the chains fell off and the bars opened, his prisoners had escaped, and so he was about to kill himself, drew out his sword to kill himself, thinking that the prisoners had escaped. Because, you see, the jailer in those days was in charge of prisoners, and it was in the contract, in small print, that if prisoners escaped under the jailer's charge, then the prisoner had to pay with his life. The jailer couldn't say, well, I'm sorry, it won't happen again, you know. No, the jailer, so he knew that what he said, if I'm gonna die, I might as well do it myself. Paul cries out, don't do that. We are all here. Don't harm yourself. I'm through now, but the jailer had never seen anything like this before. And he asked Paul and Silas a question. What must I do to be saved? The most important and most consequential question anybody, not where's the party, but what must I do? No greater question. You cannot go through this life, God giving you breath, air to breathe, lungs to use, health and strength, without asking that one question. You mean you're gonna let God do all of this for you in your life and never ask the most consequential question that ought to be asked? What must I do to be saved? So when let me call him a corrections officer. This, sounds better than jail, or the corrections officer. So, he worked the night shift. Can you imagine when he left home earlier, going to work, he said to his wife, honey, going to work, love you, be back when my shift is over. I'll see you and the kids in the morning because you'll probably be asleep when I get back home. He kissed his wife, kissed his children goodbye, as he had done every night before going to work. But never in his wildest dreams did he entertain the idea that this night would be a night like no other night. And so he went back home, got his wife and his family. Paul and Silas found some water. Don't ask me where you find water you know, a pool in a jail. No, that ain't the point here. All I know is they found some water because God will provide. And the jailer and his family were baptized. His wife Naomi, his children, his nephew Jamil, his cousin Natasha were baptized, all because of a midnight blessing.